Hey guys, John here is John Barry. Today I'll be taking a look at Square Enix's Play Arts Kai Final Fantasy 15, Lunafreya Nox Florette. Box. Here is the front, and it's just like our typical Play Arts Kai boxes. It can be opened. Anyways, here's the right side, the back side, the left side, the top, and the bottom. And now we're back to the front. Details. The paint job is decent. Yeah, just decent. The reason for that is that the separation of the skin and the dress is kinda fuzzy. Some of the white paint is leaked onto the skin and some of the flesh color paint is leaked onto the dress. However, you can't really see that from a distance. It has a sweet light blue washing throughout her clothing, and I like that a lot. Anyways, Players Kai sculpted this figure beautifully. The female body anatomy is cut amazingly and the proportions are good. The best part about this figure is how good the dress is with all the shading and the wrinkles. Moving on to her head, now let's take a look at her infamous face. I don't hate it as much as everyone. The problem with it is that it looks very flat and lifeless. However, on the other hand, it looks fine. I know I said the Players Kai need to stop overshadowing their figure's faces, and they did. However, this figure needs a bit more shading on the face to bring life to her looks. I still love her sky blue eyes and her lips though, which is very glossy. And here's her hair. It is sculpted fantastically and it has multiple layers. Just look at it. I like how the hair flows and the touch of the gray shading does look good on it. Oh, and one more thing, her ponytail is made out of a plastic that's not bendable, so be careful. Firstly, I like how the skin tone is on target and it is pretty accurate when it comes to the skin color of the game. And now let's take a look at this necklace. It's sculpted on, just like Square Enix always does, and it's painted fine. It's passable because of how small it is. Moving on to the torso, the dress is based off of when she's going to confront the Leviathan and end up getting stabbed. Spoilers if you haven't played it. Back to her dress, it is a white with a shading of light blue. The lines on her chest looks great and all the wrinkles help bring it a realistic look. And lastly, I like to point out that the skirt spreads out at the end. Alright, the next thing that I'm going to do is just for purposes of showing you the details, okay? Okay. You can open up her skirt to expose her sandals, and they're nicely done. Moving on to her legs, the skin tone is good, and at the knee it has a tiny bit of shading here. And here is something even more important. She has white panties. She put it on just for Noctis. Alright, I'm done with these sex jokes. Here's a quick rundown of the back. The wrinkles on here are incredible, and as you can see, there is a sculpt of the buttons on the skirt. Accessories. Here is everything that Luna comes with. She comes with 4 extra hands. There is a pair of holding hands, and on her left hand has a metallic ring. Also, she has 1 closed hand and 1 open hand. Oddly enough, her default hands are open hands too. Anyway, check out her Trident of the Oracle. It looks sweet, and these spikes are painted metallically. Overall, it has a great sculpt and doesn't have a sloppy paint job. You can take the bottom off the trident, so it's easier to just slide it onto the hand. Articulation. The head can tilt side to side like that. The neck also has a joint of its own, so it could move. Look down, look up. You can tilt it or like that as well. The torso, the upper portion, can bend down like so, and back like that. The bottom portion of the torso can also move back and forth, side to side, and kind of twist as well. They can go up and down like that on the shoulders. They can go back and forth like that. Her arm can go parallel to the ground like that, very nicely. It's too bad that you can't twist up here though. The elbows can bend like that. You can also twist them down here. The forearm. The wrist, you can twist them. And you can also bend them.
at this weird angle. But whatever. And now for her legs. Well, to gain access to her legs, she'll have to open up her skirt like that. Her leg can bend forward all the way like that, very nicely. But it can't go back because this piece of the skirt does not move all that much. Her knees can bend all the way back like that, very nicely. You can kind of twist them here, not that much. The ankle, you can also twist them, like so. And you can bend them back and forward. And she can also do the splits like that. And that's it for the legs.
Measuring. She stands at about 9.5 inches. Here is a quick comparison to Noctis. And here to Tifa. And here to Dragon Star's Goku. And finally to my childhood hero, Kamen Rider Zio. And now for my final thoughts. This figure may be boring to look at and is not as much of a blockbuster when it comes to being an action figure. Having a lifeless face didn't help it either. However, the strength of this figure is that she's able to stand out from the other Players Kai Final Fantasy 15 characters because most of them are all black. So having her with Cindy just makes the 5th Final Fantasy 15 collection pop out more. Don't get me wrong, she is a decent figure with good upper body articulation. Yeah, the word decent is the best word to describe this figure. And I must applaud Square Enix for making her skirt into 2 pieces so that you can expose her leg and allow her to have a bit of leg articulation rather than just leaving it as one brick. So, to recap everything I just said, this figure is okay articulation and beautiful sculpt and paint job. And you also have to need to get this figure if you have Noctis because, you can't just separate them. So it definitely deserves John Barry's thumbs up of approval. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe so I can see you next time. And remember, take care.